Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime Today is a program we set for the conversation, but today we'll be transporting your imaginations to dwell a bit on exports, right? So we'll be reflecting on how to stimulate the economy at very, very harrowing times like this. But majorly, we're trying to see how we can change the economic fortunes of Nigeria, especially in harrowing times like this, by reflecting on the non-oil sector. So that's going to be the focus. Right now, on our live cameras, we can tell you, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, if you're coming in from the Beja and trying to connect Secretariat to 7-Up, it's getting much better now, earlier than what we had before, proceeding towards Alakbere and Ogudu, making that journey towards the 3rd Milan Bridge. It's a much better drive at the moment. You might be moving at 30, 40 kilometers per hour. Ikorodu Road is still very slow. Yes, we have that impediment somewhere around Palm Grove, where we have an articulated vehicle broken down there. Same for another one ahead of you by Onikpan inwards Fadeyi, all receiving attention. We'll be bringing you more helpings as it relates to that. Masha, Guda, and the Sulere end, a better movement from Olatunde Census Junction all through Babs and Imashaun, looking good down to Donyo really, but approaching Bode Thomas Junction, it's gathering momentum while we speak right now. Eric Moore down to Igomo Bridge is very, very calm. It's looking good. Adelabu Road connecting Masha underneath the bridge looks pretty good. Further movement from there to Ogunlano Drive, talking about the exit link towards Lansing Road, is also looking very, very good too. Kilo proceeding through areas like Nobi Street, linking you up with Nepa Junction, is gathering momentum too, while Ayetoro Brown Road to link up with Nepa Junction, we have the traffic signal light functioning effectively at that point. So we'll be serving you more helpings as they come in from time to time. But let's just branch a bit now. Let's reflect a bit on some of the latest happenings in the maritime world. So we'll bring you the latest news, and that comes to you now. All right, then here's the latest news in the maritime world. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Dayo Mobiriola, has applauded the invaluable contributions of Nigerian women to the growth of the maritime sector. Mobiriola said this at an event in Lagos to commemorate the 2024 International Day for Women in Maritime. Some of the women organizations that participated in the Women's Day event with the theme Safe Horizons, Women Shaping the Future of Maritime Safety, includes the Women International Shipping and Trading Associations, WISTA, Women in Maritime, WIMA, Women in Logistics and Transport, WILAT, and Women in Maritime West and Central Africa, WIMECA, amongst others. The International Day for Women in Maritime is a significant day established by the International Maritime Organization, IMO, to honor and celebrate the invaluable contributions and resilience of women across various segments of the maritime industry. Mobiriola, who was represented by the Executive Director for Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services, Jubril Abba, informed the audience comprising of various women groups in the maritime industry that the agency appreciates the contributions of women to the development of the maritime sector in Nigeria. And moving on from there, Danish shipping line Maersk and Fairman Carrier, talking about Hapag Lloyd, have imposed peak season surcharge of $3,000, about 4.5 million naira, and $1,000, about 1.5 million naira per trade equivalent unit, respectively, on containers coming into Nigeria. This is coming barely 3 weeks after French shipping line CMA CGM imposed the sum of $900 per trade equivalent unit of containers as peak season surcharge on cargoes coming through from China to Nigeria. Maersk said its new peak season surcharge will apply to all types of containers, including dry, reefer, and special containers coming from the Far East to Nigeria, effective 1st June 2024. The leading container carrier also applies the same surcharge on many other ports in West Africa. On its part, Hapag-Lloyd said its $900 per trade equivalent unit surcharge will apply to containers shipped from Asia to both Apapa and Tinkan Island ports, as well as other ports in West, East, and Southern Africa. And finally, in the news this week, MV Dali, the container ship that ran into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, United States of America on the 26th of March 2024, has been refloated and is being pulled out of the channel. On Monday morning, recovery teams refloated the ship, which has been impeding shipping in the port of Baltimore 2 months after it crashed into the bridge and destroyed its span. 6 people were confirmed dead after the bridge collapsed and it impeded vessel traffic at U.S. busiest car shipment port. Since the collapse of the bridge, authorities have opened 4 temporary channels to allow resumption of shipping services within that corridor. Recovery teams set off controlled explosions last week to allow them remove a portion of the fallen bridge from the bow of the Dali, which had been pinning the ship in place. A preliminary report of the incident released last week stated that Dali had lost electrical power several times before crashing into the bridge as it was leaving the port. And that's the news for this week. The program continues after this break.
The Nigerian Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline 0818-888-8895. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a need. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily lane. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Allow us on top 0818-888-8895 or 0703-584-6468.
For you, we dey gidigba.
Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting now for the port of our need.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Maritime Today is the program, but before we bring in our guest who's already connecting with us via the phone line, the traffic situation around Lagos, it's a mixed experience. So far so good. The rains have poured down heavily, and so we're advising that as you travel along, please drive with care. Okay, flash floods everywhere, and that means a whole lot for your movement. We're still tracking that accident, but we got earlier on from the control room. Adeni Jones, control room, what's the latest with that? It's a lone accident involving a truck laden with 40-feet container. It got its rear tire stuck in the drainage along that particular corridor. All right, Adeni Jones by Hako Junction. Control room, help us keep an eye on that. Let's see what the latest is as it relates to that particular incident. Victoria Island, the last report, vehicular movement from Mekwen Bridge inwards Bonny Camp still looking good. Ahmadu Bello, not bad at all. Slight delays approaching Mobile. That's talking about the fuel station there. Adetokunbo Ademola inwards, Ajose Adeogun, slightly busy too at the moment. And then we have slow movement getting towards a Hotel roundabout. All right, so in all of this, if the experience that we've given you is not what you are really having out there, you can also share your experience with us, and let's see how we can bring some levels of intervention. On Maritime Today, we're rekindling Nigeria's economic fortunes through non-oil sector. And joining me on the phone line this morning, Prince Joseph Idiong is Director General, Association of Nigerian Exporters, AIN, and he's also the member board of trustees for the Institute of Exports of Nigeria. Prince Idiong, nice to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor. Great to hear you today again.
Wonderful. All right, so for points of emphasis, where are you located at the moment?
Wow, you always get me here. I'm in Akwa Ibom today.
Akwa Ibom, all right. So right here in Lagos, it's raining. I do not know if it's the same experience where you are.
Oh, this one. It's cats and dogs, they used to say. It's raining too.
Wow. So we're having a shared experience in terms of the weather situation across Nigeria this morning.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Let's connect with you now. Let's just rewind a bit. The last time we featured you on this program, about 4 or 5 months ago, and I know that things weren't looking very, very good at that time. So for you who are in the world of exports, how are things faring for you and your members?
Come again?
I said that the last time we had you on the program, things were not very bright for exporters. So as at now,
yes.
What does it look like? What does the posture look like?
Well, the situation has, I can say, is there's a good atmosphere. However, the only disturbing factor is the fluctuation of the dollar and naira situation. That is, it also affects export because of inability to hedge against price. Since we know our commodity exchange is not functioning at the moment.
Right.
But if we have a functioning, if we can hedge in anyone that is functioning, apart from the government, it will be fine. What I mean is that it's a good atmosphere. If you can export now and you can get more money and you give back the money.
Right.
But the recent past, some exporters called me to complain that if they were buying and exporting at when it was $1,800, and when the money comes back in 3 months' time, and the dollar is say 1,500, then they are going to lose millions of naira.
All right.
That is the only thing that affects a bit. It's an atmosphere that's good for export, and the prices of goods locally will soon come down when we have harvest. Because the cost of foods in Nigeria used to be, or products in Nigeria used to be costlier than the international market.
Right.
But with the harvest coming, we shall be having good harvest, and those who are farming will also have a better deal than those who are just buying at the farm.
So let's look at the potentials. Right. So let's look at the potentials of this particular sector. So non-oil, because a lot of times it appears Nigeria is so focused on the oil that we seem to forget the non-oil sector. So what are the potentials of non-oil in terms of economic fortunes for Nigeria?
Wow, there's the future of the country anchors on non-oil. I recall on September 5 last year when I was in Lagos at the instance of the Central Bank of Nigeria to speak their workshop on non-oil exports. I did emphasize that Nigeria needs to refocus properly onto the export sector. By that, my paper was anchored on national export strategy, which Nigeria has not had one. And I also advocated that all the states should have their export strategies so that we will know that we are focusing, and that with time can lead us to being an export-led economy. So non-oil export holds the key, but I want to report But after that, September, and the publicity that went around, we had a seminar, workshop, CVS seminar in Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Kano.
Right.
The outcome is that by December 30th, I noticed that the office of the PEBEC, Presidential Agency Enabling
Business Committee, right?
Yeah, Business Committee, did direct states to do something about export strategy, and many states, because of they are trying to have access to World Bank facility, that became a conditionality. You see what we have been losing. So export strategy for all the states is a way forward. And so states will now become interested. But if we are driving export, maybe from Abuja, Association of Nigerian Exporters, from Export Promotion Council, from Ministry of Trade, and the states are not connected, it doesn't work. But now, with them having been compelled to have export strategies, which I discovered the other was taken up to about 10 of them have had already. Maybe they all have.
Right.
We will now be able to work with them and to go around and get people to know that export is the key. So not all export is the key. Oil will soon give way. When I say give way, it's not going to be the mainstay.
Right.
Because we are getting hungry in the country. And if you can go to the farm or go to the farm gate and get something processed, you'll make it.
Okay, so I just needed to... Right, so
okay?
I just need to...
For us as Association of Nigerian Exporters, we are partnering with other agencies to train Nigerians on how to process and store their products and preserve their products, because preservation has been a very serious matter.
Right.
And as the states are coming on board, that's what they should do.
Okay, so let me just come in at this point, Prince Young. I'm just going to come in at this point. So I'm just looking through, and when I asked about the potentials, I needed you to give me some figures, so to say. So as we speak right now, Nigeria is operating a budget of, let's say, 28 trillion naira as approved by the National Assembly. And I know that most of the monies are going to be generated from the oil sector. So if you look through this 28 trillion, if you say there's so much potentials, how much or what can the non-oil sector generate?
So non-oil sector will generate as much as it is put into that sector.
Meaning?
What I mean is that you don't give what you don't have. If, for instance, all that, the bulk of that is put in the oil sector, if the bulk of that is put into political issues, if it is not put in what will generate export, then what they will get will be small. So what that means is that the budget should be export friendly. If the budget is export friendly, and investing in sectors, how much is invested in agriculture? How much is invested in manufacturing? All these are the issues that have to play. And even when the money is coming, who is collecting the money? The actual players or those who have access to those who share the money? So, but truthfully, the budget of the country should have a percentage that is dedicated to exports.
Right.
Let me give you an example. There are countries, I will tell you, for instance, in India, they have been a time, they make sure that they have infrastructural funds for export that in the budget, a percentage of which goes to the states. And the states are compelled to invest in infrastructures that will promote export. And we'll come to a point that what export product is generated or export foreign exchange that is generated in a state becomes a very important issue when they are sharing money. For instance, when we every month go to Abuja and get money that has been budgeted to be shared to the state, what percentage of that is from export funds? So if a state generates a lot of money from a lot of foreign exchange through export,
right,
they should have more money than those who don't generate.
Okay,
so it will become competitive. So export proceeds should be part of revenue sharing formula. And also, the budget should also have a good percentage for export investment.
So let's talk about these strategies now, because you are saying there should be a robust strategy that each state should adopt so that can also improve our economic fortune. So what are the strategies? If all states are going to be adopting one, what kind of strategies will it look like, and how should they approach it?
When you see, we have diverse situations. The national export strategy cannot be working if the states don't have. So when you have national state export strategies, every state has a potential, has an advantage in a product sector or two product sectors. And so they will pursue that. And we, at the national level, that we will aggregate that. And then we will make sure that we put the infrastructures, local and international, that will promote trade. Say, for instance, I have been serving on the board of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council between 2018 and 2023. So during that period, we were able to get about 50 billion naira grants for export sector. And we also created some programs like a domestic export warehouse. We also reinvented export trade houses abroad. And so if states are working into export sector and having strategies, we'll link them to these platforms. And then there will not be a problem if a state has a domestic export warehouse where they can aggregate their products. They don't need to come to Lagos to queue at the port to send the products away, right, to export the products. In the domestic export warehouse, all the agencies that are at the port, customs, everybody, all the agencies, the quality agencies, NEPC, they are in every domestic export warehouse, which we created in 2021.
Right.
And if you have that, then every product in your state can be aggregated, harnessed, aggregated, and they are containerized, because the agencies that are supposed to certify them for quality are certified. Customs is there. After customs, they containerize the products, and it is sealed. When it is sealed, all that will happen is they will book for that container to be at the seaport, whether it's in Lagos or Calabar or near, anywhere. Then when they know the date, the trailer will only take that container from the domestic export warehouse towards that place and will not come to cause traffic jam in Lagos.
Right.
It will know that it's a direct way to the port. And when it comes into Lagos with evidence that it is going to the port to put things on the ship, traffic will be created clear for it to go.
All right.
So that is the kind of that we have created some things, but how to implement is the issue. I believe they will be implemented.
All right. Well, let me just give this flash update coming in from the Ikorodu and inner part of Ikorodu this morning. Odogunyo to Sabo roundabout, still looking good, even though we still have the downpour within that end. Good movement as well from Aleje heading towards Ikorodu roundabout. Sabo roundabout, navigating through Primero en route Unity Second, as well as Benson, looking very, very cool and calm. No major worries. Return journey to Odogunyo is also moving at a fast rate as well. All right, so Prince Idiong, for some of your members who are in that sector doing exports at this time, some of them have been really complaining about some of the challenges that are confronting them. Can you talk to us about those challenges?
Yeah, challenges, like I said, try to hint at the beginning. The products, you see, you go to the market, everybody goes to the market. If you are an export merchant, you are expected to buy from those who are farming at the farm gates. Mm-hmm. You are expected to buy at the factory gates for exports. You are expected to make profits. But you see, the cost of products in the country are higher than the cost of the international market. So only those who are producing, manufacturing, or farming for export are the ones that can make profits. That is not one area. So merchants are in a real mess. That's why they complain that if they buy at 1,500 to the dollar, because they've already had, let me tell the truth, You don't have an option. If you have already had an order that you are going to supply to a foreign buyer at so and so time, at so and so quantity. So no matter the cost of the product in the country, you try to meet the order. And if you are buying at 1,500 to the dollar, and then you send, by the time 3 months' time the money comes back, the dollar has come to 1,000 naira to the dollar. You discover that you are going to make a lot of loss.
Right. So for you that are making this loss, yeah. So for as an association,
I said the way to mitigate is always to have a commodity exchange. But in this country, what we call Abuja Commodity Exchange now changed to Nigerian Commodity Exchange. Has not started to function. It is not trading. And so we cannot anchor prices for the future purchase. So there are ways. Government must do something by creating incentive to mitigate this. So if you had done this and they know you sold at that price and you come back, there should be a sort of force majeure. There should be a way of bringing incentives that will alleviate the suffering of exporters so that they don't get out of business.
So I want to find out from you now, as the president of the Association of Nigerian Exporters, have you been able to make this complaint to the federal government for them to know that, look, this is affecting your members?
Yes, what we do is, you have your say and they have their way. We are doing that. Even like we are talking now, you see, as I'm talking now, it's going. When we cough, they listen. But the problem is we want to get the answer soon. For instance, this one you are talking now, I've started inquiring. I've discussed with CBN. I've discussed with the Area Corporation Council. I've discussed with Minister of Finance. Those I know say that are aware of the situation. I've said these are what the exporters are complaining about.
Right. And
they will all agree that there should be something. So we as an association right now, we have asked our members who are affected to compile. They are on it to compile these situations and give us enough facts so that we are taking up with the government that there should be incentive for these exporters who are going to lose a lot of money because of the dollar fluctuations that are affecting exporters when they get their money and the dollar has come down.
Let's talk about the products. Let's talk about the products that you guys export outside Nigeria. What are some of those products?
Yeah, virtually every product in this country is exportable. Why? For instance, we talk about those ones that are top there. You talk of those ones that are known already. Cocoa is known already. You talk of shea butter. You talk of cashew. But there are other stuff. All these food items, they are the ones that can easily go. The food items, vegetables. The other day, the Export Promotion Council was trying to start a scheme on ugu, this vegetable that we eat. They should be considered for export. So I want to say that even flowers that people are just decorating their homes, they are exportable. And those zones like Jos, where the weather is good, they can do that. And export does not really mean that you must take it to the European country. For instance, in the flower or vegetable sector, the East African countries have the market. So they can liaise with the Nigerian exporter, buy and you make your cut, and the East African country person receives it and exports it. But it is even better now that Nigeria can fly their plane to Europe and fly to America. We can fly to America and stuff like that.
Right.
So what we need is to make sure that places, the states, are able to help the farmers to store their products so that they are not wasted. So if we store everything, oranges, pineapples, mention anything, the Nigerians are looking for gari to eat, they are looking for processed foods. So we as an association, we are in discussion, we have even gone to a stage, we want to make sure that exporters or would-be exporters know how to process for export.
So let's talk about that, because that's the major issue confronting some of our products out there in terms of competition. Before now, our yams were not very, very competitive in the international market. I do not know what has been done by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to fine-tune that. How are yams performing now? Because even from some of your members, I've heard Nigerians now smuggle those yams to neighboring countries and they get it properly packaged and then they are sent to Europe and the Americas. So what are you guys doing in that regard?
So what we are doing is to encourage those who are into this business to join the proper association. For instance, if you are an exporter and you want to export something, you discuss with the Association of Nigerian Exporters. We will make sure we tell you that it's not just to have the products, but there are two elements in the products: product quality and product quantity. Those two elements matter in the export market. If you have a good quality product and you cannot have enough quantity, then that is an issue. We'll look for financial support or state governments or federal agencies to support such to develop a product. The quality issue is that the Nigerian quality agencies, NAFDAC, SON, quarantine, and then agricultural quarantine services, they are doing their best. But one thing is important: they are not able to capture all. For instance, all these foreign buyers have their own standards. So what we expect them to do is to make sure they have the Nigerian minimum standard and then help them to have the global standard. We as an association will help them to have the global standard. NAPC is also doing that. NAPC has helped some organizations now to move on to having the American standard, the European standard, and they pay for this.
Right.
We as an association, we don't have the money, but since we are on the boards of these agencies, we have a way of influencing that our members can also get it, and it is working. But let me also really say that.
Quickly.
Hello?
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah, okay. But this export business is the life wire of this country. We need to. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has to gear up. I've told them before, the African Continental Free Trade Area is a good area, but infrastructure, how to get goods. You are in maritime. What is the maritime status? What is do we have shipping moving? That is an issue. Right. Do we have so those are sectors. The other day I read in the paper when Alhaji Dangote was complaining that he needs 35 visas to visit African countries,
which is not very good. We're not favorable at all.
If he needs that, look at somebody like me. What happened? I don't have a private jet.
All right. So Prince Young, let's begin to wrap this up because of time constraints now. So in 30 seconds, your message to exporters and those who want to be in that business, quickly.
My message to exporters is that they should stand up. For instance, they should take advantage of opportunities. Right. Last Monday, just 2 days ago, NAFDAC, a stakeholders forum.
Right.
And I talked to you about it on Friday. I reached out to some members in Lagos, since it was in Lagos. Those who went, they have told me they didn't understand what our association can help them.
Okay.
Until that day. I said, when you get there, say, so director, director, and now they are being invited, people who go to see their farms. Listen to NAFDAC.
Okay.
Listen to SON. And let them do it. And any complaint you have in any government agency, just tell the association, we are going to contact them and they can do it for you at the highest level.
We'll leave it at that for now. Thank you so much for connecting with us this morning. Thank you, Prince Joseph Idiong.
Thank you, my brother Victor. Thank you for the entire crew. I am always happy that you give us this opportunity. This is a very great social service you are doing.
All right.
Giving us opportunity to talk about us.
All right.
But let me...
We'll leave it at that. No, because of time. We have to go. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have to go.
Okay.
Recovery equipment on the way for the evacuation of that broken down articulated vehicle by Adeni Jones. This is how far we go on Maritime Today. Program has been produced by Taiwo Barua. Say a big thank you as well to Dayo Anthony. Not forgetting in the studios this morning, Ade Yefa Boluwatife and Adeyiga Oluwatobi Loba. Our social media team, Okpayemi Shodunke and others, we do appreciate you. Our executive producer is Taya Akonle. Rebecca Adamu is Assistant Director of Public Relations for the Nigerian Shippers Council. We do appreciate you, and to others as well. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a great day. Bye.